and I had nothing written. Nothing is written is a quote from the movie Lawrence of Arabia, which is based off of a gentleman named Henry Lawrence, who's kind of it's used when Mr. Lawrence or Colonel Lawrence or whatnot is talking to a group of Arabs about a fellow Arab of theirs who had gotten lost in the desert. They were trying to tell him that he's lost, he's going to die. It is written. He went out into the desert and grabbed that lost gentleman and brought him back into the tribe and boldly said back to them, nothing is written. 2 days later, the guy that he had rescued murdered somebody in another tribe, and since he was kind of the leader of both of those tribes, it was up to him to basically fill out the punishment for said murder, and he killed the gentleman that whose life he had just saved mere days beforehand, which kind of puts into perspective, is anything written or is it not? It was probably very humbling, and at the same time, humbling in the effect that, you know, it kind of put him in his place to who and what he was, but at the same time solidified also who and what he was. And who is he? Well, you might tell. He was born, let's see, the illegitimate son of an illegitimate daughter, which I think that makes you cross-eyed or something like that, I can't remember. Very well educated. Very well educated, and educated specifically in medieval studies, especially around what we now call the Middle East, or what they called back then Syria and Palestine. He is a very enigmatic and mysterious person as well, and oddly enough, he kind of is a big reason for a lot of the current events that we kind of go through right now when it comes to things like the Middle East and such. It's very subtle as far as what he did, but it is very profound as well. Like I said, he was educated in Britain where he grew up, and when he was a child, he was able to go and visit the Middle East, which is something you don't really do normally back in the early 1900s and whatnot. He later, during World War I, joined the British military, became an officer there, and became a cartographer, which I'm also a big fan of cartography. Matt Mason. And then, if you've seen the movie Lawrence of Arabia, went and joined Arab tribes and helped them fight against the Ottoman Empire, who were the bad guys with the Germans, in World War I, and helped to hopefully gain their independence. Well, he helped them stave off the Ottomans, but eventually what took place was they did not gain their independence. They were actually taken over again by the British. Like I said, he was very enigmatic and very polarizing. A lot of people knew him. He was known by a lot of people, but not a lot of people actually knew him. Very mysterious. Definitely one of those people who really did what he wanted to do. He was a person who lived in Britain and dressed like an Arab, because that was kind of more or less who he was. And the difference they made that actually add up to current cultural events is that basically he, like I said, he helped the Arabic tribes in Saudi Arabia and Syria and in the Sinai Peninsula and what's now Palestine, or not Palestine now, Israel now, but Palestine, I think. Defeat the Ottomans, which were basically the ruling Arabic empire at that time in the early 1900s. And he helped start a few things that actually kind of like backfired on probably the West and Britain and whatnot. One would be asymmetrical warfare, which was basically fighting against somebody and with as few, as few losses as you would take versus however much loss it would take to defeat you. Almost like a reversal of a Pyrrhic victory, but kind of different. But he was also very famous for, let's see what else, this is really just scattered. Winning a battle called the Battle of Aqaba, during which the whole nothing is written thing took place, because what they had to do was basically cross the desert, because Aqaba was a town that was well defended on the coast and had a huge desert behind it, and they walked across the desert, which nobody thought they could do, and took the city by storm that way. And very ingenious, very driven, very passionate man, and did a lot for a people that he loved, but didn't quite, I don't want to say didn't quite do enough, but basically he was overwhelmed by who he was and where he had come from, and that he didn't get to accomplish all that he did. That whole asymmetrical warfare, of course, would later be kind of translated into what is probably known as modern day terrorism, where you get the most profound effect with the littlest amount of trying. Also known as, just 19 guys figuring out how to fly an airplane with box knives and taking it over and destroying so much of what America was back in September 11th. But yeah, that's, he shows that basically, nothing is and then, I didn't even write an ending for this one. That's the ending.